Hey you guys, this is Jess with Sourceful Journey, back with another video. I just wanted to do a quick little chit chat with you guys. It's in regards to what I've been noticing lately online. And I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think. And feel free, if you want to respond down below, you're more than welcome to. You guys can definitely do that. Or if you want to send me a quick message or email me, that's just as good. Just kind of get some dialogue going when it comes to this topic. In regards to, I guess you could say it's just in regards to what's happening in the world today. Let's title it that, okay? What's happening in the world today. Okay, so in regards to what's happening in the world today, certain things that just make you say, have you guys been noticing quite an uptick with people in other countries outside of the US where they're doing these videos that are just very off-putting? I'll give you an example. So I don't know what country they're in, but I've seen quite a bit of people and they appear to be of Asian descent. I don't know if they're Filipino or what their background may be. But there's this water balloon trend that's going on where they're laying on the ground and they're like, no, and they're pumping the balloon, and the more people send them things, they're filling the balloon with more water, and then it bursts on them, and then they're doing it again and again, and they're saying, I'm sorry, or please don't, my friend, or little things like that. It's kind of odd to watch. I don't know what's the concept behind that. Furthermore, I've been noticing some people in other countries, I don't know if that's if it's in India or what, one of those countries over there, but they appear to be of a brown hue, not of African descent, of course, but it could be either Indian or I don't know, one of a brown hue, to put it plainly, just to put it nicely. They would paint their face really black and they'll go and sink into a hole and have their head like right above ground, and then when someone sends them like a virtual gift online, they'll yell and honk the horn, and sometimes they'll play in the water. They'll like just stand or float in water where it's just from the neck up and just stare. It's I'm kind of lost the words because it's kind of bizarre. What the hell is going on? It's not really comical. I don't think it really is comical, but it's kind of disturbing. But you know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of that one girl who started that trend where, whenever someone sends them a virtual gift, they'll make these weird noises, and it's like these weird twitches and all of that. I forgot what that girl's name was. Somehow she ended up getting a deal from Fashion Nova after it, and then I think Elon Musk had made some compliment to her starting it, which is, it's very, very weird. 44 as I said that. I don't quite understand what's the takeaway from all of this. When you think about, I'm not saying it has to always be, informative, it could always be entertaining. I know we have trends and such that takes place. That's great. But you have to wonder when it's to a point, when it is to a point where people are going to such great lengths to do things like this that really is not comical. Why is it happening, and why is it being allowed to happen, especially with all this going on in this world? Is it being utilized as a distraction? And if it is being utilized as a distraction or a diversion, whichever way you want to approach it as far as the words go, for what reason? What is this truly taking our eyes off of? You can't help but wonder. My opinion, I think it's something a lot deeper than what we may be aware of that's going on. And to divert a lot of us from being able to pay close attention to what's getting ready to happen. This is a way of kind of like maybe softening the impact. You have to ask yourself, the impact of what from what? Then just not too long ago, was it Kate? Was it Kate Middleton? That whole scenario where she was in a horse carriage and apparently she appeared to be smiling and happy. But from how some of the clips were put together, I'm just questioning what was seen in the clips in terms of the time lapse, in terms of all of those who were there. Some would say that it was not formulated in a way that appeared to be believable. Let me explain. So when you look at the actual clip, you can see various points where there were a lot of people around, and there were various points where there were not a lot of people around, and all of that jazz. So it had people questioning, how the clip was formulated. There's a lot of question behind that. My nose itching. I don't think I should be talking about this. I have my thoughts about it. Things that make you say, We're just going to leave it at that. Just as a collective, people need to be more analytical. We need to be more... Here we go. Never fails. We just need to be more analytical when it comes to what's being projected to us. Don't be quick to take things for face value. Do your research. It's so funny because even when I was doing my undergrad studies, and for some of you guys who are not aware, I don't mind sharing my backstory. Some of the degrees I've actually taken up on, and this was like a while back, I'll give you 3 of them. It was political science, history, believe it or not, and computer science, more so with the programming side of the spectrum, the coding. Now, for me personally, initially when I pursued it, part of the reasons because I actually wanted to go into working for the government. I really did. That was like a passion of mine. And that was what motivated me to pursue those 3 at the time. And notice I said a few because I am not sharing any more details. But that was what motivated me to pursue them, because I felt like they all connected in some form or another. And it was such great fields to look into, such great studies. And I loved it. I really did. But the point I want to drive home in regards to all of that, one thing that I truly appreciated when going through that undergrad side at the time was that a lot of my professors, a few of them, let me be more clear, just a few of them, encouraged that whole notion of never being one to take things for face value and to do your research. And looking back on that hindsight, I'm so glad that they drilled that into a lot of us. And actually, that was something that I chose to apply in regards to my own everyday existence. Even when it comes down to anything that you do in terms of your day-to-day. 2, 3, 4, as I just said that. Wow, 2, 3, 4. Even in regards to my day-to-day, I choose to take that approach accordingly. And it never fails. You'll start to know certain things and it'll change your perspective like no other. It'll change it in such a way where you're not choosing to be a sheep and following the crowd just based on hearsay, but you're taking the initiative to actually look into things. And it doesn't take much time out of your day to do so, but to do so in such a way where you have a better gauge on what's really going on. And in doing so, it allows you to move forward with more of a clear mind when it comes to what's being displayed to you. 333, as I said that. Just imagine what type of world we would be living in if people took that approach accordingly. 345, as I said that. Without making this too long, I encourage you guys to do the same. You know, when it comes to what is being displayed to us in various forms online, on your television, in the newspapers, whether it's, you know, virtual nowadays, or whether it's like in print, still on good old piece of paper, be very cautious about how you soak in a lot of this information. 33s, I just said that. Because you don't want to be one to believe what you see right from the beginning without doing your research. You don't want to be that person and then taking it for face value and end up making the wrong move just because of how you reacted to it, not getting the full details of what truly had transpired at that time. So in regards to the whole thing with Kate, I guess it's Princess Kate, in regards to her, right? I do apologize because I really don't follow the UK news in regards to the whole thing with their titles nowadays, especially after Queen Elizabeth has passed. You know, I just really don't be following their titles like that to see who's at what status at this point. I don't really follow it like that. But, you know, again, most people say, oh, that was such a beautiful clip, or whatever the case may be, of seeing her, you know, riding in the horse carriage. She looks to be happy, blah, blah, blah. And then there's some of us who are looking like, something looks a little off about that clip. It's just things that make you say, but at the same time, do so in such a way when you're looking at this type of stuff online, just go in with a clear mind and just do your own research and then come to a conclusion thereafter in regards to how you feel about it. That's as simple as that. 222, as I said that. Same thing could be said about the whole thing with Donald John Trump Sr. Which I think what is going on with my voice today? Fuck. All of a sudden I'm having issues with my throat. That's funny. I wasn't having this issue earlier. Okay. So same could be said about Donald John Trump. 33, as I said that. Donald John Trump Sr. When you think about all that is getting ready to come down the pike for this guy, you have so many naysayers. Some of those who choose to stick with what they're comfortable with, because again, this is how we were brought up. It's social conditioning, to put it plainly. So a lot of us are more comfortable with the notion of sticking with Team Blue, right? And it really, at this stage, you guys, in my opinion, I think we should be beyond that whole Team Red, Team Blue, the donkey versus the elephant and all that. We should be at a different state of mind when it comes to the betterment of our society. Fuck all that, to put it plainly. Because at the end of the day, you know, the way I look at it, and this is an old way to approach it. An older, I guess you could say more of a wiser way to approach it when you think about your thought process. Follow me on this. even for someone like myself, and I studied in the field. I studied in political science and actually got a degree in it. Okay, same for history and all that too. Like I told you guys, I got degrees in that area too. I'm gonna tell you, even with someone like myself, and I loved anything and everything. I still love anything and everything pertaining to politics, right? And I think that's why I have such a respect for that man, because he truly goes against the grain. In some way, he's like a professional rebel in his own way. I think that's a lot of us are like, rooting for him on this side, because it's time out for the BS. A lot of the stuff that we were taught, even in regards to us who actually pursued the degree itself, and studied the ins and outs when it came to the formulas that they utilized, when it came to the whole notion of the bandwagoning technique. If you know, you know. When it comes to just so many different areas, I don't want to bore you guys down to the details of what we study in that degree program. But the point I want to drive home is that a lot of it is great material to go over. But when you think about the individuals that is considered the heads or the leaders in these different parties, thinking of it like a bird, right? Follow me on this. Different sides, left and right, but it's still the same bird. Are you following me on that? So meaning, in all actuality, a lot of these figures that are in these positions, whether it's Democrat or Republican, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them have the same motives when it comes to their well-being. But again, they're different sides. So meaning there's some Democrats that actually are only in this game for themselves, let's be honest, especially when dealing with lobbyists. But there are some Republicans who are just the same. And this, my friend, is why I say we have to get out of that mindset as a collective, especially in this day and age, thinking that, oh, it's Team Democrat, Team Republican. Let's go ahead and piss on those liberals. Let's piss them off. Oh, let's go ahead and piss off those conservatives. The reality of it all is that shit shouldn't matter. Let's focus on the bigger picture of how, as a collective, as a nation, can we move forward in truly making America great again. And people have to understand, when you think about that notion, right, of making America great again, it's not saying take us back to the times of old where people of color were slaves, things of that nature, because let's be honest, yes, it's happened. It is a part of our history, sadly enough. But there were other cultures, other races who endured slavery as well. Let's not sweep that under the rug either. Okay? I mean, if we're going to talk about it, let's really talk about it. And, it's funny because, again, kind of going back to the whole thing with Donald John Trump Sr., I love how... That's funny. I just got a message. Okay. Anyhow. I love how they try to demonize this guy, but they love to sweep everything else that he's done good in terms of working with various groups under the rug, thinking we don't peep that shit. Excuse my language. Thinking that we don't see that. For those who want to be technical and be formal, because I know I have some of you guys that watch too, they're like, please don't curse. But it's just more of having like a real conversation, like one-on-one. And sometimes it's okay to be a little casual when it comes to the verbiage that you utilize. You see how I did that? Meaning, like, it's okay for me to switch it up a bit, where I don't have to be so formal when talking to you guys in these videos. I feel like, and for some reason I've noticed a lot of you guys do appreciate that now that I think about it. I had someone actually made a response on that. They sent me a message on it. How they like that I'm more, I guess, more chilled in terms of my lingo when dealing with you guys sometimes, when having those one-on-one real conversations. And I appreciate that. because it just goes to show you that a lot of people would call it code switch. I guess it's code switch. Call it what you want, but I just call it me simply being me. And I always have to be very conscientious about the environment that I'm in. So to take it right back to what I was trying to drive home here with him, you know, when it comes to him, he's done quite a bit when it comes to the various communities, not just with African Americans, but he's done quite a bit for everyone else as well. And they try to demonize this guy because he, in some way or another, is kind of like his own, he's like a whistleblower in his own way, I should say. But he's doing it from the inside. And that's a pretty bold move, especially knowing who's all involved, knowing more individuals involved who have more level of control outside of him. I think we all know, and if we don't know, we should know this. And you don't even have to be a poli-sci grad. You don't have to be a political science grad like myself to even know this. People fail to realize, you know, we're so quick to want to get upset when it comes to these political figures and not realize that, especially if they're presidents, right? We're so quick to say, well, they made this promise and they didn't do this and da da da. And a lot of the stuff, when it came down to Trump, he actually followed through on a lot of the shit that he promised us. Promises kept, right? Remember that? Promises kept. So what's interesting is that people don't realize when it comes to those who hold these roles, there's only just so much that they can do. That's why we have a system in place when we're talking about the legislative, the executive, the judicial. Those different groups, those different segments are there for a reason. It's a balance of power. Furthermore, the president of the United States only has just so much power when it comes to their role. It truly is dependent on the others that are a part of those groups as well. Now, they have the ability to override certain things, you know, the power of veto and all that great stuff. But again, when you're talking about the president of the United States, you guys, we have to be a little bit more understanding in knowing that, you know, they are only allowed to do just so much when it comes to their role. Because again, it's all about the balance of power. That's why I said this election is going to be something else for the books. But I think we all know where this is going to be leading to. I think a lot of us, and again, you don't even have to have a degree in the area to know, to be able to kind of piece things together and know how to analyze what's getting ready to come down the pike. Have my thoughts on what I think getting ready to happen, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. It really is. But I will say all this to say, just know that the best is yet to come, and in a lot of ways, it's a true statement. It's not one that's just, it sounds beautiful to the ears and it's just that. No, it's a true statement. I think going forward, we're going to be in a better space compared to where we are now. But again, going forward, I would just pray for the day that as a collective that we try to think on it from a deeper perspective. Try to have a better understanding, a better gauge on how this game works when it comes to politics, and not be so quick to want to throw out our sense of disgruntlement, our temper tantrums at certain political figures because we're like, well, you promised this, you promised that. Yes, they do that. I mean, that's just a part of the game. They have to make it clear to the public what their dreams and aspirations are when it comes to them getting into their position. Like what they would hope to be able to do, or what they truly plan on doing. And it's kind of like that whole notion of claiming it and receiving it, right? So they're trying to speak this into existence, like this is what they want to do, this is what they want to be able to take on for the public. You know, they have to do that because that's the buy-in factor, right? But don't fault them if it appears to be a bit delayed in some various forms or another. because of the other groups, i.e., the legislative, the executive, the judicial, may be a bit behind on their decision, on their side. A lot of people will even say, even when it comes down to the Electoral College, is that something we truly need at this stage in the game? In my opinion, why the hell do we still even have an Electoral College to begin with? It's taking up unnecessary space. I felt like in some form or another it served its purpose way back when. But in this day and age, why do we still have it? It's pointless. I think, in my opinion, we need to do away with the Electoral College. It's no point to still keep it around. Like, why? What's the point? It's very interesting. And you know, it's so funny. Nose is itching like crazy. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Even with the powers that be, when you think about our governmental structure, where it once was and where it is now, with all these parties, we have what? The Green Party and all that jazz. I don't know. And probably parties we never even heard of, that we never knew existed. Like, oh, this is a party? Part of the reason is because in some form or another, within our governmental structure, we've lost control. And it doesn't look good at all. We actually look like the laughingstock amongst the other nations in various forms, even when it comes down to the current party that's in office. We're the laughingstock. We're the laughingstock. And we're not being taken seriously, which is why all this stuff is happening now, especially when you think about Russia and Russia. What, now they had one of their battleships that come towards our lands just recently? That never happened under Trump. Because I honestly feel that never happened under Trump, because even Putin knows. I wouldn't dare try that man. I wouldn't dare try that lion. He knew better. He knew Trump had the mentality of y'all gonna laugh when I say this. He had that mentality. Trump's approach was that whole notion of, I wish a bitch would. Which is why none of them tried that shit when he was in office. I want someone to debate me on that. Please debate me on that. He never tried it. None of them ever tried it. There's a reason behind it, because he harnessed that level of respect amongst the other superpowers as well. In order to get it, you have to give it. That's what I meant to say. They all had some level of understanding. It was a bit of a cohesive effort when it came to the superpowers, when it came to Russia, when we're talking about the US, when we're talking about China, you know, even with Kim Jong-un, right? They, of course, being the leaders of their various sects, but yet they still had a certain level of respect amongst one another. They knew how far to go with one another, right? Do you see that now in regards to our current administration? It's sad. It's sad. But I feel like this is going to only be a short stint of dealing with this. And I feel like things are going to get back in order where everyone's on the same page. And things will continue to run smoothly. But in order for that to take place, there's going to need to be a shakeup in terms of our governmental system. I could go on, and actually, come to think of it, we were talking about term limits. Why are we still sitting on the fence about term limits? That should have been updated years ago, decades ago. Why are we still allowing people to be in position over 2 terms. I feel that not only for presidential figures, that should apply to others who are in the Senate, the House of Representatives, and in various sects actually within the government. They too should have term limits. They too should have term limits. Why has this not been implemented? Why are we dragging our feet on it? It's not like they are unaware that this is something that's been considered for some time. And furthermore, why is it that it was something that was only applied to those who are taking on a presidential position, but why was it never applied to those who were in other positions, other roles within our governmental structure? Things that make you say, As always, you guys, I am sending you guys off with love and light, and we will speak in the next video. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts about this. Feel free to chime in or send me emails or message me as you have been. I love seeing that. And again, I do want to welcome the newcomers. I see a lot of you guys are starting to trickle in, so definitely keep that going. And just know I see you and I appreciate you. So I'm getting ready to go ahead and get into some of this work here, but I just wanted to leave this quick response with you guys. And again, this is just a segment of things that make you say, So yeah, with that being said, I'm definitely seeing you off 11 light, and I'll see you in the next video. Bless you guys.